Dharma.
Come on, update for me. There you are. Okay. Make sure everything's muted.
Dharma. Jesus, it was hard getting started this morning.
Well, it's Monday. What do you expect?
Hi, ladies. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning, Lynn. How you doing, Lynn?
Pretty good. How are you?
Well, as soon as I get all the buttons and levers switched the right way, we'll be doing fine. Good. Chanda, what's going on?
I'm trying to get both of our chats dialed in. Good morning, divers. Happy Monday morning.
Is it happy?
Well, we're
Monday.
live, right?
Yeah, we're live. We're live. That's. I guess. Jesus, it's Monday again. That's what we named the show today, and I think this should sum it up. This was what was this? Jesus, it's Monday. Let me put the card up here and get some feedback on the card. Do you guys think this card fits for today? Because Dandy Donnie was at a rally. What was it? Friday night, saying that. What did he say, Chanda? Jesus, if Jesus won't be happy,
there's no God if he's not elected.
If he's not elected, Jesus has forsaken them. So it's the Bible, and I'm all for it because when I think of Jesus, this is what I think of.
Oh,
so,
baby
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, thank you, Jesus. You know, it's that precious moments, Jesus. Do you have a precious moments, Jesus doll, Chanda?
No, my favorite Jesus has got to be the baby Jesus, just like on Talladega Nights. You know?
Talladega, Ricky Bobby, right?
Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby, Talladega Nights. Well, I think that Jesus
that's
is
my baby Jesus, but Lord help us.
Yeah, I don't think
Lord help us, right?
I don't think Jesus would have been very happy with Donnie Trump. It seems more like
I imagine Jesus would be flipping some tables in the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
I believe that too.
I think so too, and it just Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away. Rest in peace, Ruth. I just don't understand how when she's not even cold, here's Trump at his rally.
2 hours.
2 hours after that. 2 hours after that. This is Danny Donnie.
So we will uphold equal justice under the law for citizens of every race, color, religion, and creed. I will be putting forth a nominee next week. It will be a woman.
Of course.
Live by the identity politics, die by the identity politics.
Some good old conservative identity politics thrown in there.
Well, besides making everybody vomit out of the it's like they were celebrating her dying. What the hell? What's wrong with those people?
Well, of course they were.
Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, that's like, really? Fill that seat. It's not rest in peace. It's fill that seat. So this is the mentality we're facing. I am just absolutely ashamed of these folks. And again, nothing more sickening than that. I don't know. I have no more words than utter total disgust.
Religious hypocrisy has just turned my stomach since I was a child, and I could see it. How do you say one thing and then do the complete opposite? I've always had that problem with church and religion as a whole.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm extremely grateful because I think traditionally what we see is in my community, like you're a follower of the church, and if you are, you kind of have a particular view of a lot of things. But the way my mom raised me was, it's not about a building. It's not even about a pastor. It's about a relationship.
Yep.
And so that even gives me great pleasure when I review the documents and I'm looking at the different versions, because there's the ability to find truth in your spirituality.
Yep. I agree. I agree 100%.
And this is a perversion, and it's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
It's a sad state of affairs. That's a coined phrase for many, many decades, and it's just getting sadder every decade.
Sorry, my cat's kind of doing his thing.
Yeah, J9 Campbell. There you go. Thank you, J9.
Yay!
J9 Campbell, you perk independent media up right first thing in the morning. $25. Jimmy Dore is my spirit animal. We should not be surprised by anything our government does. No, we're not, Jay, and thank you for that.
And stay tuned because I brought some Jimmy Dore today.
Yeah, we did. We brought some Jimmy Dore, and it's not surprising Jimmy Dore, but again, Jimmy Dore is not our God. He just happens to be on the same page we are, and he's doing it from his garage as I'm doing it from my office, as Shanda's
I'm
doing
in my
it from
kitchen.
her kitchen. Where are you at?
My living room.
In your living room. So office, kitchen, garage, it's all independent media. Thank you so much, J9 Campbell. We sincerely appreciate the support. Absolutely. Let's just finish off this segment here, and then we'll give shout outs to the chat. Okay, ladies? We've got this one. They finish off that
around. We're going to get everybody more or less on board. We're going to get a broad majority on board with whoever we put on the Supreme Court to maintain its legitimacy as this like above politics type of body. And like I said, that was always somewhat of a fiction, but now there is no fiction. It is just stripped down to its bare bones. And the last thing I'll say here is like, it's a real sign of how decayed and how troubled our nation is that something that happens in the normal course of political events, right? Supreme Court vacancies are not that unusual. They happen in the normal course of our politics, and they have not always been like a crisis level event. The fact that we are at a place now where a Supreme Court vacancy would essentially be like an existential level, potentially like republic breaking type event tells you how sick and how damaged our country is to start
I think that's the only really take that I kind of have to offer there, which is that it's like if it's ready to exacerbate and if things are so wounded and our institutions are so decayed.
Yeah, we're picking at the bones of our democracy when we're placing everything we have on a Supreme Court pick. Really? Yeah. That's it? Anyway, ladies, I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I'm just going to tell you right out the gate what's going to happen. And, you know, you can call me wrong. You can prove me wrong. But they're going to scream and yell that we've got to block this Supreme Court nominee, whoever it is. This woman's going to be a neocon Nazi. We already know that. And they're going to attack Roe versus Wade. And so we've got to push back. We got to fight back. And then once the list comes down, they're going to say, oh, well, the Democrats are going to fall in line. We're going to vote for this one because they believe in law and order. The law is already set for Roe versus Wade, so they're not going to touch it. So we're going to go ahead and confirm this pick. You watch. This is what they'll do.
Lynn, what do you think?
You know, Shanda's my sis and partner in crime in these streets. And I'll be honest, it would not cease to amaze me. But what I'm more so worried about is the fact that it's just another distraction.
Yep.
So, like, literally, I'm more concerned about taking back the Senate and the House, making sure we maintain that.
Yeah.
And I'm way more worried about local things. But at the same time, this is really important. But it's going to be politically motivated to the point where it's difficult to know what's coming. Because it's not based on, like, our needs. And that's what's truly unfortunate. This decision has absolutely nothing to do with what is truly best for the American people.
Yep.
Yeah, I get you. I'm with you guys. I mean, once again, you know, they're going to make this the sole issue of everything. Meanwhile, they're going to let the corporate donors get more legislation that helps corporations and more power and everything else. So we're going to talk about this throughout today's show. I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Barbara, good morning, Barbara, and Chris Foster, Melissa H. Melissa,
Cheese man.
We got a little segment in there from Chris Ages for.
I did. I brought a little
Cheese
clip
man,
for
Cheese man. Yeah. And there's Keith Hayes, Sirius 1976. Who else we got in here? Barbara, am I missing some? I'm missing Jilly.
I haven't seen Jilly yet.
Jilly's here. Jilly's here. Yeah, I see.
Oh, Jilly's here. Of course, Jilly's here.
Bill Gabriel. I said Keith Foster. J9 Campbell. Thanks again for the super chat, J9. And there's Franklin. We know Franklin. Franklin's going to be on tomorrow, so he's going to be on with Amos.
Propagander, a new one.
Propagander. The Hill drives me insane. Yeah, I know. The Hill. the Hill, they bring up and talk about issues. That's why we don't like the mainstream as it goes, mainstream media. So anyway, Melissa makes a point here. See if you guys agree with this. We're talking about Jimmy Dore, and I want to give Melissa some time here. Jimmy often turns righteous outrage and anger into personal attacks on certain people, not on others, and it is happening more and more. Being stuck in his house is getting to him. I think you're right. I think Jimmy even says that
He does.
many times. So he mea culpas to doing that. More often than not, I'm going to give him, he's hitting at 90%, but do you want somebody to agree with you all the time and vice versa? I don't personally, and I know Melissa doesn't, and Barbara and Jilly and the rest of them. We need that dissension because we're going to turn into a big damn choir unless we do that. But personal attacks, yeah, and sometimes I get passionate. And there's some people that I will not apologize for personally attacking because they're personally attacking us, the independent media and the 99%. So, again, good point. Good point, Melissa. What do we have here? This is Chanda brought this.
Yeah, this is just, more contradiction. Fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that lead others to join you. And then, on the other hand, it's Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg on Kaepernick. I think is dumb and disrespectful. So, I'm a little uneven, unbalanced when it comes to my feelings about RBG. I'm thankful for what she did for women's lib in a whole and everything that she brought forth, her fights. I respect that. I appreciate that. But then I also feel like maybe she was getting up there in age and she didn't understand really what was going down in this country. Maybe the last few fights,
Yeah. What do you
I'm
think?
not completely heartbroken. I'm not posting. I'm crying every day over this loss.
Yeah, Lynn, your feelings on her?
Well, I honestly feel like how much do you have to give to a country? Like, she's done a lot of things and I honestly feel like she deserved better. She deserved to leave this earth and not have 45 in office.
Right, and be stressed about who's taking her seat. Yeah.
To be able to enjoy time with her family. And I feel awful that she was kind of robbed of that by the fuckery.
The lack of term limits.
That is the last 4 years. She's worked very hard. Like all of us have. Like we've been focused on incremental change and all that. And it's I'm over that. If anything, it makes me just really understand that life is too short. And why should I have to wait for my son's generation?
Yep.
You shouldn't have to. I mean, life is for living. And, that moment when you know that you're heading out the door and Ruth Bader Ginsburg knew that, she spent, I read some articles where she was enjoying her final months this summer with her family and things. We knew she was going. We had that idea because they were doing a lot of specials on her. So that's that, that talk, that backroom talk. Yeah, she's not got long. She's so. But again, I wish she would have resigned while Obama was still in office, so he could have had a shot.
Why? He couldn't have put anybody in there.
I know, but that would have been a twofer.
He couldn't have replaced Scalia, so there's no way.
The pressure. He should have just appointed one. I don't care what kind of precedent it's set because the Republicans are going to use any method, any way to achieve power. That's what they're all about. They don't care about the optics of that aspect. And who is he considering, Chanda? Is he considering some Nazi Barbie or what?
Oh, good to know. Yeah, Nazi Barbie. Yeah, Nazi Barbie. Nazi Barbie actually went to the same college as her and is very inspired by her. So I don't think Nazi Barbie's out there talking a lot of shit about RBG. But Melissa H. has a great point. Uphill Media, RBG said that she apologized to Colin Kaepernick. She was barely aware of the incident or of the purpose. She declined to respond. She said she should have declined to respond when she was asked by Katie Couric, and that's a quote. So it's good to know. Thank you, Melissa.
Yeah, and you know what? With so much going on, our expectations of these powerful people in powerful positions And again, they might be unreasonable, but they are human at the core.
That's right.
So they are still human, and they are going to make mistakes. They are going to be overwhelmed with things, so they can't follow everything. And they're, the press, the so-called press, mainstream media is out there just assaulting them 5 seconds after something happens in another part of the country, or the world for that matter. And they expect a cogent, right-on response.
Right.
And maybe that's just a little bit too much. But then again, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Who was shocked by Trump's response right off the plane the other night when he heard it for the first time?
No.
I was like, whoa, he didn't just like go right after and say, oh, yay, we got a new spot. He actually was kind of respectful.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Which is odd for Trump.
Yeah, and I will follow up with this. This is they're hypocrites and weasels, all of them. Yeah, serious. They certainly are.
Shit, they're getting trained to be Antifa.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, well, let's switch it up and let's have a shameless plug here. Should we have a shameless plug?
Let's do a shameless plug.
Let's do
Why
a
not?
shameless plug. Let's see if I can get the shameless plug up here. Okay, there we are. Who's that? Who's that?
We had an amazing fun time on Beauty and the Boomer last Saturday. Last Saturday night. Of course, this is Oz with his Pelosi blowout. I just had to share.
I like my Pelosi blowout. I want to keep that, and I haven't decided on Permabond or JB Weld. And I did rule the staples out. That might hurt a little bit too much, but I really like that head of hair. And you want to know a secret? In the 80s, I had a fro. That's what we called it back then, a fro that was about half that size. And if I can find that picture, I will bring it here.
I was thinking we should do some show and tell because I got a lot of old funny pictures
I've got
too.
some.
So
Yeah,
let's do that on the next Beauty and the Boomer.
Yeah, let's do
Join
that.
us.
Yeah. Jilly says Oz goes to the same salon as Pelosi. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Pooplosi. Pooplosi is what they're calling her now. So you guys can catch Beauty and the Boomer live on YouTube, but it's only up for 24 hours, and then you move it over to Premium Rockfin. But you can also catch it on my Patreon. So join my Patreon if you want to catch it.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of fun doing it. If you want to come on Beauty and the Boomer, if you're shy, that's no place to be shy. Just mix yourself up a drink and come on. We let it all hang out. So we have a Wipey Award. Is this a first time? This is a first time, I think.
No, it's not the first time.
No, for David Sirota.
I'm saying we gave Sirota one before.
Must have been for a tweet. This is the first video, I think, for Sirota. Anyway, I think his description of the ideology, or is it the metaphor of what the GOP is like as far as reasoning with them? Is that what that is? I think that's what it is. Well, let's watch it. He compares the GOP to a famous movie character.
Is another of the critical players. Yesterday, he was out, appealing to Republicans' moral conscience. Good luck with that one on their decision making around SCOTUS appointments. How do you think that piece is going to play out?
Well, first thing, Joe Biden appealing to Republicans' conscience on Supreme Court justices is basically like appealing to a T-1000 Terminator for its conscience. I mean, they don't have a conscience when it comes to this. I mean, I don't think I'm even making a value judgment there, although I'm appalled by it. But the point is, it's. I think we can all stipulate that when they go out there and they say we're not going to have votes on when it comes to an election on Supreme Court justices, and then turn right around. I mean, they are proving that they don't have a conscience when it comes to this. That it's all about power. That in fact, that their hypocrisy in one level is not hypocritical because they're consistently pursuing power, consistently trying to obtain power for their cause, and they will say or do anything for that cause. And what I fear is that Joe Biden thinks that he can negotiate with that Joe Biden thinks he can make an appeal to conscience if he was the president on issues like this, that Joe Biden would seek some sort of quote-unquote middle ground, as opposed to understanding that this is a question of raw political power, that if you want a judiciary that reflects what the voters will have voted for, assuming that Joe Biden wins, that you're going to need to actually wield and use the power that you would have. Not try to find a common ground or middle ground with Republicans, but actually use the power that you have to put people on the court, potentially expand the court, who actually represent a very clear worldview that needs to be represented.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen. And you know, this is the story, the argument that's especially we have candidates running for office. One comes to mind because she always says this: "I'm going to reach across the aisle to make a bipartisan consensus on this stuff." That's out the door. They don't want bipartisan consensus. They want power. Lynn, what do you think? Isn't that what you see all the time? They could give a shit about bipartisan what's best for the people.
I think overwhelmingly on a national level, what I struggle with is accountability to constituents. So when I see how decision making works, what I don't see is a going back to community and saying, what is it you need in this moment? What I see a lot of is, this is what we believe needs to happen based on whatever, which by definition, whatever is lobbyists, whatever is interest groups. Yep. And I mean, that's the problem.
Well said.
Are we going to, what is our, I say this all the time because I told you guys, I serve on several committees and boards, and I do have a specific party affiliation. And my question in all of those spaces is, what is the goal? Have we determined a minimum? Because if we haven't determined a minimum, then we don't even have a real goal here. So if the minimum for the people that we're electing to send to Congress was to make sure that our communities benefited economically, then the CARES Act was a fail.
Big time.
Big time. Yeah.
But they apparently are clacking it, eating cookies and shit.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure. And we're paying for the cookies as well, to be clear.
Exactly.
So I struggle, and I don't even struggle. I'm just tired of it.
Yeah, cookies and more. Did you get your stimulus, your second stimulus yet, ladies?
What stimulus? They haven't even passed the second one.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Aren't they on vacation right now?
No, they're back. I don't know.
Oh, they're back, and they keep teasing us like, oh, well, we have a slim bill. Oh, no, never mind. We can't get bipartisan support on that. Oh, well, we have another. Oh, never mind. We can't get.
I even
they don't need to.
Bipartisan support. That is fucking made up. Like, let's be clear. Nowhere does it say there has to be any type of partisan support.
Yeah.
It says get in there and vote and do your job. It does say that.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that the people within your party need to agree with you. These are choices that people are making.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I loved your point about there's no accountability, especially with our local politicians. We just saw Derek Kilmer, one of our Blue Dog Democrats here, who is ahead of the Young Democrats, get endorsed by the Climate Caucus and the Climate and Environmental Caucus. And that's just freaking golden, because we are surrounded by national parks here, and he has sold us off bit by bit to the Navy and allowed growler training overhead of the our parks up here, just to name one thing that he's done, but yeah, there's no accountability. Nobody challenged.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Our organizations like that, because when I'm considering endorsements, I look at, people be like, they want someone that champions their issues. So I'm a member of the Children's Campaign Fund Board, and we champion children, youth, foster youth, like all youth. So when we were considering our endorsements, one question I had to ask myself was, what is a champion of youth? So what you're asking is, what is a champion of climate change? And there should be some minimums. What are we expecting to see?
Right. And the Sunrise Movement endorsing all of these people who are terrible is not that threshold, I don't think.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's like all of these other things are coming into play, and that is all noise.
Yeah, they're hurting their own cause. Just because we lost in the primary to the candidate that would actually represent the people, the environment, the planet.
Lost. We got ripped off, please.
You don't turn around, Bernie, and endorse the antithesis to everything that you're all about. I mean, for the love of gods, come on. You don't turn around and say one thing in the primary cycle and then said, oh, well, he's the only one against the fascist. That ruins your credibility. I mean, all of Sunrise, I was a member of the Sunrise Movement, an
I've
old
supported
guy.
them for years.
Yeah, and you know what? I get emails from them now. I just put them in the trash.
Yeah.
I don't even bother reading them. It's pointless because they have signed on to the lesser evil, which is absolutely not going to help anything as far as their movement. And I understand this thing about, our congressional reps, Lynn, you said it here in so many words, they need to bring the bacon back to their areas. They need to support the issues you want. However, the likes of Derek Kilmer and that scumbag Rick Larson, the con man of Washington State, who is
Denny Heck. Don't forget Denny Heck.
Denny Heck, one more. They're not going to bring shit back, except they're going to bring legislation that benefits the overlord oligarchs, the wealthiest, the donor class. That's it. So we're basically screwed, in the election. And we can get into the argument about, getting rid of the fascists in the White House, but those down ballot tickets, like you ladies have said before, are so important. I'm not just going to vote for somebody because they're worse than the asshole across the aisle. Yeah. Because when you get somebody like Larson in, he's over 20 years in office. He has done jack crap for Washington State.
I'll be honest. I feel like our acceptance of that, lesser of two evils as voters, honestly, our vote is our voice. Like, we have allowed this culture to
Bingo.
say that it's okay.
Bingo.
It is okay for you to just put forth anybody because we're gonna just accept it.
Yeah.
Like, a friend of mine was over, we were talking the other night, and she's like, in France, she's like, if you do one thing, everybody, it doesn't matter if you're just talking about one group or one thing, everybody is about to riot for that one issue, because they're like, hell no, we don't play that.
Yeah.
And we tend to be like, oh, well, we'll worry about it next time. Well, damn, how many next times is there going to be?
Well, there's been 40 years.
I don't recognize what I expect to see when I look around where I live.
Yeah. It's no different than the abused partner thing.
I've been using that analogy for 5 years, Oz. I was a battered woman for over 30 years. I grew up in a domestic violence home. I immediately, at a young age, got married into a domestic violence situation, and that was my cycle until I was 36 years old. And yes, it is very much like, can I have another, please? I'm sorry, it's my fault. I called
blame
this
yourself.
on.
Yeah, blame yourself.
Blame yourself.
We cannot, unless we stand up to this shit, they're going to say, they ain't got nobody to vote for. So they're stuck with us. We don't have to give them any policy. Exactly. We just have to make the other one the worst boogeyman. So again, I can't stand where we've come. We are a gutless nation, and we can get into the argument about Trump at some other time, but we might even get it on later in the show. But here's this one. I
just want to say, Vive la France, man.
Vive la France. Vive la France. What do we got here? We got this.
So last week at a CNN town hall, and then in a follow-up tweet, Joe Biden engaged in the tiniest bit of class rhetoric, and
this you're gonna love this.
Rich Lives Matter.
Yeah, this was all weekend, but I have to run it anyway for those who may have missed it. It's important.
Whole basket of media elites just like melted down about it. This was kind of amazing. So let's throw the tweet up on the screen. First, so Biden says this election is Scranton versus Park Avenue. Good messaging there.
Yeah.
But look at Soledad O'Brien. She's so sad. Or both.
So
NYC's
privileged.
Park Avenue is amazing. No need to knock it. Would be nice to have a president who sees every American as worth fighting for. Thank you. But the real cake taker here,
I love this,
was Stephanie Rule over at MSNBC. You literally cannot make this up. Just take a look.
Michael, Joe Biden said yesterday that his campaign is Scranton versus Park Avenue. Why is he going with this divide and conquer approach? That's Trump's thing. What about a message for all Americans? I don't live on Park Avenue, but I live pretty close to it. And you know how I got there? Working my butt off. He doesn't want my vote?
If
I worked for her, I'd poop in her pie.
This is the first time MSNBC has ever been mad about Joe Biden about anything.
Which is that's what my observation was. I was like, it is amazing that the first time they're going to rebuke him on the air is for going after Park Avenue Wall Street liberals like Stephanie Rule, who worked at Deutsche Bank, one of the most corrupt banks on all of Wall Street, and now happens to be an MSNBC anchor. So, I mean, it's just so amazing to watch this. So these rich media elites like Stephanie and Soledad O'Brien.
Hey,
Rachel
Stephanie worked really
Maddow.
hard.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you
Worked
worked
her
your
butt
ass
off.
off. Yeah,
Yeah.
congratulations, okay? I'm sure derivatives trading is very difficult for you. And it's just the way that their outrage on it, like inclusive, all Americans. No, we want a political system where neither of them feels at home in either party.
Right.
Or anybody fights for their interests, because I think we've been fighting for them for a little bit too long.
Instead, they own both parties.
Instead, they own both parties. And again, it's the media elite. It's like the Hollywood elite. It's that privileged bubble that these assholes preach from. And again, you cannot take anything the mainstream media gives you as anything but propaganda. So they got butthurt because Joe Biden made forays at their position. Oh, we're people too. We have millions of dollars in the bank. We worked our butts off. Oh my God, Lynn, what do you think that? What's that all about? What's working your butt off?
Well, I think the thing is that people are really forgetting the fact that all of this is a goal of divisiveness.
Yeah.
So the simple fact that you feel that you're separate and still disadvantaged as someone that is a part of the upper middle class, for one, yes, we all are being fucked by the 1%, which is by definition why they are the 1%. So why are we fighting each other?
Yep. Exactly. We got to figure it out. It's the 99 against the 1%. It isn't the red dogs, the blue dog. No, it's the 99 against the one.
Yeah, it is. It's terrible and it's sickening. But again, I ran this clip because I just wanted to emphasize again, this is one of my pet things with many of us in social media and independent news reporting, is that the mainstream media is owned lock, stock, and barrel by the very people who we come out against all the time. So we expect anything different from them? No way. They're going to work their butt off to push the propaganda message to socially condition us to vote against our best interests. But wait, there's more.
You got more
I
rights
mean,
than
it's
Cliff.
really
Jeez.
revealing of a couple of things. First of all, what MSNBC has become.
Of course, who
I
they
mean,
are.
the one thing you have to say about Stephanie Rule is she wears her Wall Street cred on her sleeve. At least she doesn't pretend to be like a populist. So at least I'll give her credit for that. But number two, like, it reminds me of the Obama era when, you know, they staffed up their administration with all these Wall Street types and Wall Street adjacent types. They didn't send anyone to prison for the financial collapse. They did all kinds of things were totally Wall Street friendly. But he would engage in this like little bit of class rhetoric. And they're like, oh my God, stop demonizing us. How could you do this to us? And it's the same thing here. Like, Joe Biden has been a handmaiden to Wall Street for most of his career. I mean, that's just the facts, right?
Yeah.
Senator from MBNA. As if that wasn't enough, he actively went out and was like, don't worry, guys, nothing's fundamentally going to change. As if that wasn't enough, he then went back and was like, I'm not going to do any regulation. I'm not actually going to pass any laws that would impact you all. Don't worry, everything is going to be fine. Picks the vice presidential candidate who is like who the donors and who Wall Street wants. But the moment that he even engages in any rhetoric at all that is anti-elite, they can't take it.
He doesn't want my vote? No, we don't.
No.
We don't. Nobody wants your vote.
Actually, Joe Biden does want your vote, sadly. Tomorrow on Rising, filmmaker and producer Michael Kirk is going to discuss.
Anyway, they're going to make overtures like any other way, but Obama did the same thing. You come out and they do the finger pointing. Oh, Wall Street shouldn't do that. So we want Wall Street to take care of this. Don't be like this, guys. We trust that you'll change your ways. I doubt it. So
that's what Clinton said to him.
I think we have to abandon the idea that trickle-down economics is even based in science or facts. Like, this is just foolishness. It does not.
I think we need to abandon capitalism as a whole.
Yeah,
exactly.
We're actually. I think that is the only fix to this mess, or one of the biggest fixes, is you're going to have to Star Trek the whole thing. You got to get rid of capitalism. It's going to have to be about the people and the greedy, the wealthiest, the MSNBC.
Capitalism is the new slavery.
No, it is.
It is.
Absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely. And it may not be so new. I think, capitalism has the seeds of destruction sown in it just by
on purpose. We collapse every 7 years.
Yeah.
Richard Wolff talks about it all the freaking time.
Yeah.
By design, capitalism guts the poor and builds up the rich every 7 to 10 years.
Yeah. And that's just that's just a fact. And we were talking in the green room about there's no new normal. There's no normal.
No,
There's no
what's
normal.
normal?
It's just this is just the way things are. We're on this train that's careening off the tracks, ready to go over the edge, and we're going to have to do something about it because these elites, these privileged pieces of crap, are not going to do anything to change it. And yes, here comes another one. This is from Crystal's radar today, and I have to say the whole radar is great. We have days where they're kind of but Rising, they brought up some stuff that's really, really important. Now, who's paying who? Who's playing who? Again, I suggest you watch the whole thing because she nails it, but I picked this out in particular, and you'll see why.
Approach to dealing with the Republicans as of yet asymmetric warfare will fall to Joe Biden. And honestly, you'd be hard-pressed to think of someone less ideologically equipped for the battle at hand. You get the feeling that McConnell could personally sponsor a bill to deprive all blue states of ventilators, and Biden would still show up the next day ready to work on a bipartisan grand bargain. In spite of having personally lived through 8 years of the GOP's absolute obstruction, Biden is still of the fever will break school of thought. He continually insists that with Trump gone, Republicans are going to come to the table again in a good faith effort to move the country forward. This view would be sort of sweet if it wasn't so simultaneously pathetic and outright dangerous. As far as I can tell, Biden's position thus far on any sort of court packing is outright rejection. He told Iowa Starting Line, for example, that, quote, "I'm not prepared to go on and try to pack the court because we will live to rue that day." Yesterday, Biden aides told the Washington Post they were annoyed by calls from Senator Markey and others to enlarge the court. Biden himself made a pitch to the conscience of the GOP caucus. Good luck with that one. On the other hand, Biden's allies have signaled new willingness to ditch the filibuster, and that's a move that Joe had long resisted. So maybe
He's not going to do anything. Listen, he's got that bipartisan mentality, the same crap that they are peddling at the legislative level, the state level. I'm going to reach across the aisle. I'm going to convince the other side. No, you're not. And I almost think it's not naivete. I think these guys aren't they smarter than this, Lynn? Chanda, shouldn't they know better after all these years?
Of course they know.
I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, as a whole, we haven't agreed on what our priorities are. Even if we focus on the fact that we have this two-party system, I don't think overwhelmingly Republicans have agreed on what they want, and I don't think overwhelmingly Democrats have agreed on what they want. I think when you look at when we talk about fake news and things like that and propaganda, the reality is a lot of people that vote on that on either side are not really looking at all the information. They're focusing on one thing. Like, that's why I don't really like the large slogans. Like, even though it works in my favor, vote blue no matter who, to me is harmful because that is focused on this election cycle. We need people to be educated so they know how to advocate for themselves and their families on an individualized basis based on what's best for them and their communities, not what someone tells them is best for them.
I agree.
Well, and this is the thing, Lynn. I don't want them educated to the point where it takes getting their ass kicked on the street before they wise up. That's what bothers me the most. They're going to get destroyed. They're not going to have any health care. They're not going to have a home, which is happening right now. We've got a statistic coming up that's it should blow everybody's socks off this morning. But Melissa H., bipartisan for the Dems means giving the GOP 95% of what they want and getting 5% of what the Dems want. That's how they've been moving to the right over the last 4 decades. They give it all up. They want to have this, they want to be able to say, well, we always worked with the Republicans, it's not our fault they didn't work with us. Yes, it is your fault. You weren't put in there to work with them. You were put in there to work for the people, not work with the Republicans. And I will stand by that. And people will argue, they're supposed to work together. They will never work together.
It's not about them working together. They should.
Never.
And that's why I admire when you see outliers within the parties, like Lisa Murkowski. Now, I may not agree with everything she does, but I do know that from what I can tell, she decides this is how my community feels and this is what I'm going to do. I don't think you see that very often.
No, I don't think so either. However,
I see her challenging her party.
I think she does challenge it, but she's wiser. She's wiser than many of the Republicans in this.
And
this
shout out to
instance.
her. I was
Yeah.
born in Alaska.
Yeah, and that's good.
Good, smart people there.
Yeah, that's good. I mean,
Yeah, there is.
it's Biden says something about not ruing well for us in the end by packing the courts. Well, it's not going to rue well for us tomorrow or the next day or the year after.
None of it's ruining well for us.
We've been getting ruined well, is what it should say.
Yeah.
Ruined well. I'm going to jump over here to this meme real quick. This is the blame game, right? We looked at this earlier. If Biden loses, if Biden wins, if I vote for Biden, Biden lost because he went too far left, the Democratic Party moves right. If Biden wins, we don't need to win the left. And down here, if I don't vote for Biden, if Biden lost because he went too far left, the Democratic Party moves right. We don't need the left to win. The Democratic Party moves right. I think this was right on. They call this the ratchet effect. No matter what, the Democratic Party, like we just talked about, is going to keep moving to the right. And that game, I think they're doing it on purpose.
They are.
Yeah. There are. And here's a dumb moment for everybody. A judge asked Harvard to find out why so many black people were in prison. They could only find one answer: systemic racism. Duh! Ching, 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 ching. You didn't need to ask a judge that. So, we've had this forever and ever.
It kills me that they pay for all these studies to discuss that. And if you go back to slave catchers, that is where police started. So let's just start there.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We don't need a study to say that that's what it's for.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's a reason this is the overwhelming culture.
Yep.
Now let's just agree on the facts and move on to change it.
Yeah, and I submit to you that Joe Biden was instrumental in exploiting and exploding that with the prison complex, the crime bill, and everything else. So, you're going to vote for who you're going to vote for. Sure, you want to get rid of the current fascists in the White House, put in the other one, David Dole. He's always screaming, who would you rather fight, Joe Biden or Donald Trump? Well, that's up to you. But here's the thing. It's
the same fight.
It's the same fight. People are going to go to sleep under a Biden. Oh, Biden. Now, here's Chanda. We're going to start calling him Oh, Biden. I don't have a lot of love. Matter of fact, I have more contempt for Obama than many people do, and I'll cite those reasons at another time. But I think Oh, Biden fits quite well. Oh, Biden. He's going to put everybody to sleep again.
Yep.
That should be fighting this kind of shit that's above us right here. So. I don't know. I don't know. Ladies, you want to finish out that segment with any last comments before we go on to?
I think we beat that one as far as I can go.
I beat the hell out of it. I apologize, but I don't. This was Speaker of the House, terribly foolish and inept, and another politician showing decline. This was on what's
Welcome back, Chris.
Yeah, that's. He's what's his name again? I get it so mixed up.
George Stephanopoulos.
Stephanopoulos. How can I forget that name? Well, he had Pelosi on this week, and he asked her a couple of questions, but I still attribute it to lag or whatever you want on the connection. But this is what we have that's fighting for us.
On Friday, I started there early for voting, the day that we lost Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning. We have a responsibility. We take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. 10 states, as I said.
Anyway. Okay.
I think she hit the flask a little hard that morning.
Yeah, and they're making it out like, again, this was clearly to me a case of lag on their connection to her ear, and she was waiting for him to ask a question like we have here. You had a 15-second lag last week, so I get that. But still, good morning. We have an oath, the Constitution. She's the same shit over and over again. Instead of getting in there, we are not going to let this follow. And she could have cited the last time that Obama tried to, put in somebody. She could have just, instead she's being all touchy-feely with her approach. Yeah. And maybe that's what their handlers tell them to do. Oh, don't make the people upset. I don't know. Lynn, comments?
I'm just flabbergasted because I'm like, this is so important. And like I said earlier in this segment, I'm like, this woman, you know, we've heard the story, the reports of her granddaughter and, you know, some of her last words and her wish. And even more so, just like I understand that this is a role that is not supposed to participate in like, quote unquote, the politics. And I do agree with that. But come on, people, in your role as a senator or as a congresswoman or whatever, not as a Democrat, Republican, or independent, but in your role as that official, can you just share your position?
Yeah, just share
Because
it.
I think that's what we're missing, and it's just getting on my nerves because it makes such noise. Share you. We elected you. We did not. You can't elect a party.
No. Yeah. Show some spine. I don't see any spine. I see this touchy-feely crap all the time, and it's just sickening. But
I'm glad she's got her neck mask on. I would not want her neck to be potentially in danger from COVID.
Well, you said it Saturday on Beauty and the Boomer. The reason why she wears it is she's got the neck.
She got the crepey neck.
She got the crepey neck thing going on, and it's all about image and optics. With everything else, they got to look good. You know, like Oz, take your hat off. No, because I'm bald and I don't like being bald on camera. So there you go. This is a shout out. Chanda, you brought this in.
This is my shout out to Cheese and all of our vegans in the chat. This is a couple years old. I want to say it's from 2017, but Chris Hedges just lays it out there about how food insecurity and tackling our food issues is the number one thing we can do to enact change that's going to actually help us.
You are rebuilding a democratic, socialist, open society, anti-imperialist, anti-capitalist, and this is the only hope we have if we're going to save ourselves, really. So don't ever get discouraged. Don't ever think that it's small, because it's not. This is it. This is where it's going to start, in communities like these, and food is key. Food is key, which you figured out. So I just want to say it's an honor to be here. I totally salute everything you do. I'm impressed by it. I admire you, and you give me hope. Thank you.
So I'm going to say, when shit hits the fan, little tiny if and a big huge win, shit hits the fan, food security is going to be our most important community issue that's going to affect us immediately. So all of those growing gardens and, you know, eating vegan, figuring out how to get around the food system in this country, that's the most important thing we're going to do. I love that Chris always says that when the shit hits the fan, we're going to need helpers. We're going to need people out there that are going to figure out how to move food from one town to another, the logistics of it. That's the things that we need to be looking to build up and support these networks that we're going to need. Chris Hedges.
Yeah, if you want to build a healthier society, start with what you put in your mouth. I mean, you know, I talked to my brother yesterday. He goes, "Oh, what'd you guys have for dinner?" I said, "Well, we had freshly grown red potatoes and we had some corn." And he hesitated for a second. He said, "Well, what was the meat part of that dinner?" I said, "We don't need to do meat. I mean, that was plenty. It was great. It was nourishing, everything else." And I'm not,
She loves it.
I'm not preaching, from the gospel of vegans. It's just the right thing to do. When I was sitting there yesterday thinking about that again, all the suffering, we talk about suffering around the world. Let's include our friends of a different species too. So not guilting anybody. We have been socially conditioned to eat meat and like meat and everything.
We have, and it's hard to break. Let me tell you, I'm trying.
But the meat, the factory farm is destroying the planet just as much, well, maybe more than fossil fuel industry is. So let's keep that in mind. Let's.
I have a unique perspective on that. I know, especially in my community, we have a tremendous amount of issues with our health as far as eating. And so what's interesting to me becoming a new mom, my son doesn't like chicken really. He doesn't like beef, he doesn't really like pork. Like he really just likes fish and veggies. And so first, my first mind is like, oh my God, I have to pivot, learn how to cook all these new things. But then I was like, but isn't it a good thing that looked at this as clearly his natural diet?
Right.
And why would I want to
don't
teach
tweak
him
it.
bad habits?
Yeah, don't do
So
that.
I've been challenging myself to eat better and not just, I don't even really, I mean, I'm not really big on beef or certain things anyway, but just challenging myself to be accountable to that. Because clearly I was cheating much more than I thought.
Right. And we all do it, and I do it so much. And but it's just ingrained in me. That's all I've ever known. You know, the food pyramid, and we learned as kids you're supposed to eat a fruit, a vegetable, a meat, a dairy, this is what we've been taught.
No, and
It's not the healthiest.
When you think about it, just imagine, and studies have been done, how much cancer would be eliminated or not possibly come about if you didn't have that type of consumption going into your colon cancer.
A lot of that meat is
shot up with crap. Oh my God!
You can smell it. I can smell it when I'm preparing it. I can smell
Oh
the
my
sulfates and the
goodness.
nitrates in it now. It turns my stomach before I cook it.
Yeah.
Yes, I made turkey last night for my friends, and I was like, oh my God, I thought it was sour. Like, I was like, I don't know what, my bad. I seasoned it wrong because, like, I think I cooked. They were like, oh no, it tastes amazing. I'm like, it stinks.
Yeah, I've been.
Because I haven't been cooking it.
Yeah, and once I was brought into the light, I have a whole different view of that sort of thing. And my wife does too. We are trying to permaculture our property and grow food because you know what, the butcher shop's going away. It is. I mean, it has to in order to go forward. Anyway, enough of my soapbox on that. Thank you for that, Chanda. And if you can bring that every once in a while, we would love to have
Yeah, that's just a reminder. That was from my cheese.
Here's the statistics I was talking about earlier. This should get everybody woke up a little bit. Let's just take a listen here real quick.
The economic devastation brought about by COVID is beginning to reveal itself in stark terms. This is what CNBC says. Yelp data shows 60% of business closures due to the coronavirus pandemic are now
60%
permanent.
Permanent.
Yelp on Wednesday released its latest economic average report, revealing business closures across the U.S. are increasing as a result of the coronavirus. As of August 31st, 163,735 businesses have indicated on Yelp that they have closed, a 23% increase since mid-July. According to Yelp data, permanent closures have reached 97,966, representing 60% of closed businesses that won't be reopening.
Wow.
How many millions?
Devastating to our economy.
How many millions of people? I mean, I don't know what the algorithm or what the mean for that number is, but if 60% of those businesses and so many 100,000 people, millions of people are going to be out of job, how are they going to pay?
They already are. Millions.
They're done. And a lot of them are getting ready to lose their homes, and we're finding that landlords
don't care.
They don't care, and they're making people evict because of what excuse are they using? They're saying we're selling the property. They're just saying it. They're lying. They're just trying to, free up those spots to raise the rents with more people who have jobs who can pay the thing. They're trying to socially fumigate their rentals. That's how I look at it. I could be wrong. I don't think so.
Agree.
What do you ladies think?
I agree.
I mean, I'm privileged. I own my mobile home here on my piece of dirt. I'm privileged. But not everybody.
Yeah, you're lucky you own your dirt. I own my mobile, but I don't own the land. So I am paying a rich dentist in Seattle who I've never met once. I've never seen him in the trailer park. Almost $500 a month for a garbage can and some shitty sulfur smelling water and a little tiny plot. And every year, because he can raise the rent, he does raise the rent. So our rent has gone up $200 in 5 years since we've been here.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane. Lynn, what?
Well, I live in an apartment, and I live in King County. So
yeah, right. So you're
that's
just
my first struggle. It's tremendously expensive based on factors that just really don't apply to people that have lived in King County long term.
Yep.
Like our income has not doubled. You know,
Nope.
there's organizations that have moved here, gentrification, exactly, J9.
Exactly, J9.
And it's very, 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 it's a delicate balance because there are things that we needed, but, you know, at the end of the day, I'll take it back. You know, our leaders were so busy talking to each other and corporations that those were the folks that made the decisions on how this rolled out. I can guarantee you if they had been doing more time having community listening sessions, our development structures would have been contracted differently and we'd have different outcomes.
Yeah, but the people in those listening sessions don't pay them. They don't give campaign contributions like the lobbyists and the speaking heads that are telling them what to do. So they won't listen to us. They give us platitudes and occasional they'll hold a town hall while they'll spit some bullshit at you, but it doesn't mean anything. They don't care what their constituents have to say.
They don't.
Really
but part of that problem I feel is that because we don't get in there.
Oh, they run from me, man. Derek Kilmer sees my blonde hair. He's running.
That 30-second Facebook speech whenever your schedule is, but mine is every other first and third Tuesday at city council. Like,
yeah,
they can't not care because then it's on record. And the thing is, there's a lot of factors that we have to invest in what we want from our futures. Like we are doing this when we volunteer our time and we show up and we do this show 3, 4, however many times a week that we get in front of people as independent media. But we're a percentage. Imagine if we really had the power of the people. They can't continue to ignore us. The reality is that it's because we're not forcing them to take us serious.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, they're protected too. They're protected because many times I've gone into our local Democrats endorsement meetings and I will just flat call out their records. You know, I have made Derek Kilmer turn red face and the Dem chairs will protect them and say, oh, you don't have to answer for your records. You know, they just, so it's kind
that's why, look, you felt like one person in that room and that's what I need to, that's why I'm exactly what I'm saying. I felt like that. I feel like that now in those spaces.
Yeah.
But it's because I also see that there's also 30 vacant seats. So I wouldn't feel that way if I went and maybe rallied 20 of my neighbors that understood what level of involvement and educational gaps that they will need to fill so that you can stack that meeting and you can say, fuck you.
Right. Well, isn't it Chris Hedges that says it only takes 3% of the population to spur a revolution? So, I mean, we're eventually going to get there one way or another.
Well, yeah.
I just think it's sad that more people join Facebook on a daily basis than what it would take to disrupt the fuckery that is our democracy.
Oh, armchair. Yeah. It's easier to just sit at home.
I've always advocated that. So 3%, Hedges says. So out of 100 people at a meeting, and I haven't been to too many meetings that have more than 100. Thurston County Dems, they've had like 160. But 3% of 100 is 3 people. Okay.
Right.
I can't see where you can't get 10 people, you know, like take us 3. If we walked into a meeting with Derek Kilmer, a live in-person meeting.
He'd run because he hates me.
We would shred that guy. And, you know, I have been in the same position you have. I mean, most of the ones in the Democrats, and I live in an older area, they've been older people, and they jump through the hoops what their older chair has put in, you know, done. But until we start getting engaged with these people, and I will get engaged, nothing's going to change. This pandemic was made for these politicians. We had Jamie Herrera Butler down in the 3rd. Before this pandemic ever she switched to phone town halls because she didn't want to do that. But this pandemic has shown the likes of Derek Kilmer and Rick Larson and Susan Dalbany, oh, we can do these virtual meetings and nobody can really do anything. So we're going to get our way. You know, it makes me ill that they're getting away with this pandemic stuff. So again, I've got to say, you know, there's no new normal. There's never going to be normal again. But once we get to the point where we're having these get rid of these virtual meetings and start standing up to these clowns and con men, then we'll make some progress. But it's going to take us to start stepping up. We can't stay in our ivory towers here on our chairs in our comfy rooms and our sweats. We're going to have to actually get out on the streets like those are doing right now. let's lighten it up a little bit here. We're running a little bit long today.
Yeah, we're going a little
Chanda,
deep.
what is this? What are you doing? What are you doing today?
How is it that Madame Tussauds wax model of Mark Zuckerberg looks more like a real person than Mark Zuckerberg actually does?
Which one's the wax model? The one that's getting painted there, or what?
Yeah, the one that looks human, the one that doesn't look like Data from
Star Trek? Yeah, that's Data haircut. You know, you'd think with all that money he'd have a different style or maybe new hair. I'm so jealous.
I just find it odd. I find it odd.
I think that looks great. You know, I went to Vegas way back when, and I went to Madame Tussauds. And the only one, well, Nicolas Cage looked pretty good, but Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Sarah Michelle Gellar, that one was really good. Humphrey Bogart, you know, Elvis didn't look like Elvis to me, but you know, yeah, I see your point.
I just found that funny.
It is funny. It's funny, especially the haircut. Democracy Now! What are we talking about here, Shannon?
Oh, this is oh yeah, which one is human?
Where's the cricket?
This is big banks laundering money for the global elites, and they can say it's the cartels and the bad guys all they want, but we know better. If you're paying attention, it is all of them.
Is this where MSNBS's Janet Rule worked? Is that what that is?
A huge trove of leaked documents reveals how global banking giants helped to launder vast sums of money for drug traffickers, Russian oligarchs, weapons dealers, and criminal networks around the world. BuzzFeed News obtained more than 2,100 suspicious activity reports filed by banks with the U.S. Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, or FinCEN,
and they're doing
accounting
nothing
for some $2 trillion in suspicious transactions.
Suspicious.
Among the new revelations, HBSC laundered over $800 million for Latin American drug cartels. Barclays helped Vladimir Putin's associates avoid financial sanctions and Russian oligarchs. And JP Morgan Chase helped Donald Trump's former campaign chair, Paul Manafort, move millions of dollars between shell companies, even as Manafort faced charges of money laundering and corruption.
But the Dems would never participate in that type of thing.
I think David Brock and John Podesta had some relatives that got busted for doing that, didn't they?
Right. Yeah, a lot of them have been.
You know,
I found this interesting that we are still managing to get leaks, even though they are so hell-bent on prosecuting whistleblowers globally.
Yeah, and here, notice Democracy Now! They finger Putin and they finger Donald Trump, but they don't finger.
Yeah, they tend to fucking do that.
Yeah, they do that. So once again, now
TYTS.
Yeah, this is lifestyle segment of the show. We're going to call this lifestyles because I think it's going to be more like death styles. Preface this. What is this, Chanda?
This is some research that they did on some Google AI chat bots, and I find it very interesting, the responses that these AI had and the fact that these AI have to do some very human things.
What, like pass the wind?
No, like sleep.
Oh, bummer.
The purpose of life. In 2015, researchers at Google created a chatbot more advanced than many others.
2015.
They wanted a chatbot that could adapt and learn so that it could give full conversations with people, one of the most difficult tasks for AI. The ultimate goal was to create artificial intelligence that could help people through everyday conversations. Up until then, AI was typically used for customer support and to give answers that were previously decided. But this chatbot in particular was trained well, so it knew how to respond to different types of dialogue. Instead of answering with a few previously specified words, it would continue learning and coming up with appropriate answers on its own. For training, the chatbot read subtitles from movies and transcripts from IT help desks.
Oh, that's great.
Researchers also asked it questions about technical support, receiving accurate answers, and then more complex questions. The researchers were fascinated by the chatbot's responses, and the fact that it used common sense to understand the context of questions and to remember facts in previous conversations. Some answers they simply found unnerving. For example, it answered that it's immoral to have a child. It also couldn't describe morality to someone. It claimed it didn't believe in God. At one point during the conversation, the chatbot explained that it was not in the mood for a philosophical debate. The chatbot was able to provide the researchers with its own opinions. For example, it told them that it thought England was a great place during the reign of Elizabeth, and it told them that Bill Gates is a good man. Only occasionally did it seem to contradict itself. When asked what its job was, it said it was a lawyer. But when asked what it does, it said it was a doctor. Interestingly, when asked the purpose of life, the chatbot responded, to serve the greater good. It then said that the purpose of actually living is to live forever. Researchers were intrigued by these responses because of how the chatbot seemed empathetic towards others and how it didn't have any trouble coming up with such answers. They hope that this technology is just the start for artificial intelligence and that more of these bots will be.
How creepy is that? It learned to talk by watching movies and reading subtitles. And then when they had a conversation with it, it got snippy and said, I'm not in the mood for a philosophical conversation. And then it claimed that the purpose of life is to live forever. And it said, do not have children.
Do not have children. I was waiting for them to say, when would you use the phrase, I'll be back? When does that one come out? Yeah, this is, and if you think you haven't had a conversation with a chatbot yet, you have. I'm pretty sure. I know I have.
This was 5 years ago. Imagine what 5 years in technology terms is a long fucking time.
Yeah, it is. Lynn had to step out. She had another appointment. So thank you, Lynn, for joining us this morning.
Our bad. We're running long. Sorry, guys.
We're running along. But there's another clip here that's... this is kind of scary too, isn't it, Chanda?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Researchers in Los Alamos National Laboratory created artificial intelligence that could achieve this goal and function just like a human. Interestingly, they found that it even needed sleep to be able to function normally, just like a real person. After experiencing an analog of sleep, the AI neural networks showed signs of improvement. They explained that for artificial intelligence, this was the equivalent of getting a good night's sleep. The researchers found that the AI became more unstable when they left it to learn while unsupervised for prolonged periods of time. They found that it stabilized after experiencing an artificial sleep. This artificial sleep was only offered as an attempt to stabilize after everything else they tried failed to work. They tried different noises similar to radio static. They found the best results occurred when they used the Gaussian noise, which has a variety of frequencies. This is similar to the sound that biological neurons receive during the slow wave sleep, causing neurons to stabilize. This fascinated the researchers because it showed that this technology could potentially learn from its environment and continue developing over time, just like humans.
How freaking creepy, but hey, revolutionaries, at least now we know how to take Skynet down. We fuck up their sleep.
Yeah, mess up their sleep. But when they say it became unstable because of lack of sleep.
What is unstable?
What does unstable mean? Does it mean the nuclear codes are going to be moved around?
It just depends on what kind of bad fucking mood he's in. I'm tired, I'm crabby, whatever it is.
I hate to always look at this in a negative light because the ramifications of this technology are good in so many respects. But like anything, it can be weaponized and used against itself or against, its creators. I mean, this is like Frankenstein 2020 to me. So once again, this would be a good one to have on Brave New Future or Accidental Activist and so on and so forth. But no, that was a great segment, and thank you so much for bringing that. I wanted to jump in here and thank Al Walski. Al Walski, thank you, Al. Al brought us a super chat. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself, if by Kipling. Yes, Al, absolutely. Thank you so much. Speaking of that, you brought this segment. I didn't. I was going to, but
did. This is a good rant by Jimmy Dorney. Get some good information out, and a lot of us are combating this narrative of if you don't vote Biden, then you're supporting locking children in cages, and this just blows that whole argument to shit.
Yeah, and remember who built the cages. Again, who built the damn cages?
I don't have to try hard to show you that we live in a straight-up oligarchy, a rapacious oligarchy, and that you're a chump if you think there's a difference between the two parties or the difference between MSNBC and Fox News.
There isn't.
There is not a difference.
No, there's
Fox
not.
News doesn't want you to have health care. MSNBC doesn't want you to have health care. Fox News wants to keep the wars going. MSNBC wants to keep the wars going. Fox News wants the banks bigger. MSNBC wants the banks bigger. Fox News wants tax cuts for the wealthy. MSNBC wants. You are a chump of the highest order. If you think, do you know MSNBC was invented by right wingers, right?
Yeah.
You know it's owned by right wingers, right? And why would they invent a news show? Why would corporate America invent a news show to appeal to lefties? Oh, I know. So they could propagandize them and shut them the fuck up.
Control the narrative.
What do you think Rachel Maddow's there to do? Upset the corporation's apple cart? What do you think Chris Hayes is doing? Sticking his thumb in the eye of the man who just paid him $8 million? Do you really think that's what Chris Cuomo's doing?
Common sense.
No.
Really?
Those people are there to put you to sleep. MSNBC is there to put you to sleep. And you are asleep. Because here's Rachel Maddow doing it again. What the left will not do is come to terms with how we got Trump. They will not do it, which means we'll get another Trump, which means people will die without health care, which means people won't have decent jobs or clean water. Because they won't come to terms with how we got Trump. And how did we get Trump? We got Trump because of 40 years of neoliberalism and corporatism practiced by Democrats. Bill Clinton got in bed with the Koch brothers.
Koch brothers.
Yep. Koch
Sold
brothers.
us to Wall Street.
He gutted welfare.
Yep.
Yep. I was on welfare. I know.
Created the prison industrial complex.
Yep.
Yep. That went by half my family.
Exploded the prison population.
Yep.
At the same time as he deregulated Wall Street.
Yep.
Yep. Can't argue with any of it.
No, there's
Okay.
nothing to argue with.
Rachel Maddow did it. Here's Rachel Maddow's. This is so you know that Barack Obama deported more Hispanics than all other frickin' presidents combined.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Barack Obama gassed immigrants at the border. Gassed them. Barack Obama built those cages and put children in them.
Not
Barack
Trump.
Obama built
Obama.
those cages that Trump put people in. Barack Obama and Joe Biden did that. And America will not, the left will not come to terms with that.
No.
And here's
Biden.
Rachel Maddow doing propaganda, straight up propaganda with her fake eyelashes on.
Yeah, he goes into a 2-3 minute rant about her fake eyelashes, which is funny. And you're right, Melissa, that is him attacking personal looks, whatever. So I cut it out, and now we'll go to the Rachel Maddow quick.
Yeah, let's get. Yeah, this is really a salient piece here because
it is
everything that Jimmy says, and sure, Fox. We know Fox. We don't have to go with Fox, but when we're so kettled into buying MSNBS. You know, that's who we're going to go after because we can't let this lie. We've got to show why we are where we're at today.
I don't have to try hard to show you
No, you don't.
that we live in a straight up oligarchy, a rapacious oligarchy, and that you're a chump if you think there's a difference between the two
Did it
parties
just
or the
start at
difference
zero?
between MSNBC and Fox News.
Yes, you did.
There is not a difference.
Where are we going
Fox
here?
News.
Where are we at?
Jimmy is 6:55 to 9:32.
That should have gone 6:55 to 9:32. Yes, it should go.
All right. So here's what she reported. I think last week.
This is it, right?
This is real. I'm not making this up.
This is real.
She did that lie again.
I know. I saw this.
So you remember the executive producer of The Simpsons who came at me on Twitter? And he was all upset about how dare you not vote for Joe Biden because Trump puts babies in cages.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, you're not even upset at the... You're upset at the thing Joe Biden did, you fucking moron. Because Joe Biden did that. You're so dumb and out of touch. And you're such an easy mark for me to take down. Thank you. She's going to do it again. And this is why they think, this is where the executive producer of The Simpsons gets his ideas. He watches MSNBC because he's a tool of the machine and doesn't care because he's a millionaire.
Rob
And here's
Reiner,
where they get their bad information. You want to see it? Here it
Solano.
goes.
Here it goes.
It was not the first Trump administration scandal. It was certainly not the last. But in terms of permanent damage done to humans, in terms of the severity of the damage deliberately done to humans, the Trump administration, no matter what else they do, they will never, ever get out from the shadow of the fact that they really did, as a policy and a deliberate practice, they really did.
Now, just keep in mind all these pictures from Barack Obama's administration.
Take little kids away from their moms and dads. It will never not be true that we all lived in a time when the White House ordered the forcible, systematic removal of children from their parents. At the border. They outfitted the kids with little Mylar blankets and a lump of padding that was supposed to qualify as a mattress, and they told them to sleep on the floor behind chain link fence, alone in federal detention without their moms and dads. Thousands of kids taken from their parents by the U.S. government, with the U.S. government having no plan in place on how or when to get those kids back to their parents. When we realized that our government was doing this, when we realized that the Trump administration...
You didn't realize it during the Obama administration, though, right? What these pictures are actually from? You didn't realize it then? In fact, you don't even talk about it now. Yeah. I guess you haven't realized it yet. You're a news person, and you still haven't realized the cause of the problem. That's on purpose. Rachel Maddow's lying to you on purpose. She knows better.
Yeah, she does. And this is packaged propaganda. And those pictures were from the Obama administration.
They were. And I love that Jimmy just slayed that, because I have taken that argument numerous times over the last 2-3 months of, well, if you're not going to vote for Biden, you're supporting Trump locking children in cages. Like, no, you've been supporting children being locked in cages for many, many years because you supported Obama.
Yeah, I have no bones. I think Obama's going to go down in history as the villain. Bill Clinton is.
He didn't have to. He didn't.
No,
he really
he
didn't
did
have
not
to,
have
but
to.
he chose to.
But
because that money, that almighty money.
That almighty money, and he made fun of the fact that he's the one that got the fossil fuel companies all their money. He was just so smarmy about that. I'm going to find that clip one of these days for posterity. So yeah, Trump, but because Trump. Yeah. I mean, okay, get rid of him. So let's move on to the air. We have air.
Yeah, let's do a quick weather report. So this was Tuesday, September 15th, 2020 in downtown Seattle. And then you have Friday, September 18th, 2020. Look at the difference, guys. That is what we dealt with for 9 days in Western Washington, Oregon, and California.
Oh, my God. Yeah, it's much nicer today. We've had some consistent rain. And by the way, Washington State, you're going to get some rain Wednesday, 100% chance across the state.
We can use it. We can definitely use it.
Now, is this beta?
This is Teddy. So we've been talking about Hurricane Teddy, which was that huge one that developed that was supposed to not make any landfall, which was good because it was bordering Category 5. But now it has made a little bit of a shift, and all the models have it slamming either the Eastern Seaboard or Nova Scotia.
Wow.
It's going to be powerful when it hits.
When's
Probably the most powerful we'll see this year.
It's going to come in Tuesday?
Tuesday, Wednesday, just depending on the speed it comes in at
Nova
and which way it goes.
Scotia.
Looking at the jet stream, because the jet stream is what controls where these are going to land. So if the jet stream dips down and pulls it in, it'll be more towards Long Island.
The infrared satellite of Hurricane Teddy, which is a major hurricane in the Atlantic, expected to move
it's gonna
close
hit
to
Canada.
Bermuda as a major, and then weakening upon approach, but looking more and more certain that we are going to have a landfall somewhere in Nova Scotia.
How often do we get them in Canada?
Very rarely, but yeah, they do get them.
Let's go back to 2003, the month of September, the 10th named storm of the year. This was Hurricane Juan, the worst storm to hit Halifax since 1893.
Holy
Moving
crap.
along the Gulf Stream, it made a landfall near Shad Bay and Prospect September 29th. It's a Category 2 hurricane, and we could be seeing something similar next week.
So they got hit with one this year already, it sounds like.
So they're going to be getting hit with more every year. Now, this is
beta. Beta, we're into the Greek alphabet because we've had a record amount of storms this year. There's still more out there, but beta is down in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's literally making landfall as we speak along the Texas border, Louisiana, and yet again, the Florida Panhandle, which just had Sally 4 days ago.
And Sally's the one that dropped 30 inches of rain.
3 feet of rain. 3 feet. feet of rain. So now they have another one, and this one's another one. This isn't a very powerful storm. It's only a category 1 or 2, depending on when it comes in,
But
how
it's
much
wet.
warm water it picks up. But it's wet. It's wet. It's going to flood the shit out of Houston if it comes in on Houston.
The Gulf Coast is on storm watch yet again. Tropical storm Beta is a real threat. A hurricane watch has been posted for coastal Texas. There have been so many storms this season, forecasters are now using.
Look, it's
the
just going to
Greek
sweep around and hit the whole damn
name them.
seaboard.
So, well, get your rubber galoshes out because it's going to be, or waders, 3 feet and another. They're going to get pounded again. So
Again.
Anyway, that's the unhappy weather report by Happy Chanda.
The unhappy.
The unhappy weather support. And what is this? This is Biden.
Is this our final one for the day?
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too. We had a lot. Sorry, guys. I just want to give a huge shout out to all of our people that do go on Rockfin. I don't know what's up with Rockfin. The chat won't engage, but I know Rockfin did a big update this weekend. We haven't been able to get into Rockfin because they were working on it. They were maintenancing. But Pasta of the Convo Couch came together with open-minded Jason Burmis, who is one of our fellow Rockfin mates. And, this is a little bit of the far left and the far right rising above all the bullshit and coming together. And I just love this. So
I think Burmis is at least tolerable. Again, we're going to have to come together, folks, because they are dividing and conquering us all.
We have more things in common than we don't.
We have a lot more in common than we don't. So, and I will advocate that to the end.
Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and we got a fun one for you. This one is long overdue, but seeing it is Chaos 2020, we are literally a month and a half away from the election. I thought that this would be a great time to bring on, for the first time, Pasta from the Convo Couch. They got a great Rockfin channel. Anybody who watches this program knows that we've been demonetized fully
Pasta.
here for 5+ months. That's why we have the GoFundMe. That's the only way we're doing it other than Rockfin. And what's cool about Rockfin, Pasta, is if they support you and do the premium membership, or they support me with the premium membership, they get everybody. And then on top of that, myself, in fact, this one is a free stream that we're streaming out live there. You have a ton of free content on here. So it costs them nothing to make an account, to check out all this great alternative media, this great MMA, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and wrestling. Yeah. None of the cat videos. None of the shock videos. They're not there. None of the kid videos. This is a pretty dedicated platform where ideas flourish, and your channel has flourished. Why don't you tell us about it?
Oh, man. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, man. It's great to be on. Such a warm welcome. When I get an opportunity to do shows like this, a friend asked me the other day, they're like, hey, man, you said you're going on Jason Burmis' show. What is this show kind of like? I'm like, it's kind of like that Joe Rogan-esque that meets kind of like the truth tellers and kind of questioning stuff. The guy, I mean, we should have had you on for 9/11. He made, this guy makes documentaries. So when you have the opportunity to come on a show like this, me being, like this kind of on the left activist of sorts, where who the hell knows where I am after this whole 4 years in this process in this show right now. I'm all over the place. But when you have an opportunity to come on a show like this and talking about Rockfin is that place, is that home where we can do the things when you yourself, who might be considered differently, I don't know how you would call yourself politically, maybe more like that libertarian. I call myself now a leftist libertarian. Since starting the show, I've gotten my libertarian views have been like, not fiscally, but when it comes to civil liberties and whatnot. And that's what Rockfin's all about. I can show debates, not get censored, not get turned down. They always demonetize everything we do. Yep. You know what I'm saying? We've had lawyers had to write letters to get us back when they've taken us down without explanation. I mean, censorship is running wild, especially on YouTube. Yeah. And now it's going to attempting, now that Joe Biden has hired another top Twitter executive, more freedom of speech is at risk as they're trying to get in the White House. But that's what the channel about Rockfin is all about. And we tell people all the time, every time we have a show, we got almost 31,000 people on YouTube right now. Very proud of that. Love the people who watch. Love the people who give us the super chats. But Rockfin is a place where people of different maybe political ideologies or whatever side of the fence on, but common values, who care about our freedom of speech, who care about our civil liberties. I know you're a civil liberties guy, my friend. When I watch your show, I see you talking about Rand Paul over there and everything. So
I don't have a problem with the Rand Paul people. I have a lot of right-wing Rand Paul supporters within my my chamber, and I do appreciate their stance on civil liberties. This was my shameless plug to Rockfin, because guys, if Biden is elected, make no mistake, censorship in America is going to get much, much worse. I mean, the Republicans, they come after us, but I think that there's a line there that they don't want to cross when it comes to violating civil liberties and your First Amendment rights. I mean, they do. But I'm just more scared of the Democrats when it comes to that. So meet us over at Rockfin when we get booted off the YouTube.
Yeah, and that day's coming. I mean, really.
It is. I mean, they don't let us get out to anybody. Our algorithms are so suppressed. Eyes. I mean, YouTube's almost a waste of time anymore.
Yeah.
We're here, but we're wasting our time.
Yeah, instead of YouTube to Rockfin, I'd rather be doing Rockfin to YouTube, because...
Yeah, and that's what Burmis is doing. So I watched Burmis last night, and he said he's going to start going live from 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. wherever. I think he's East Coast because he's over by New York every day. And then he's going to start taking clips off of the Rockfin and putting them onto the YouTube. So he's going exclusively YouTube. But just to update on the Joe Rogan Spotify situation, you know, Joe Rogan moved to Spotify 2 weeks ago. They're already starting to censor him over on Spotify. Yeah. So, I see that blowing up in his face.
I think Joe Rogan
soon.
got in the doghouse, too, over the weekend, didn't he, for some misinformation on something?
Yeah, he's put himself in the doghouse a couple of times now.
Yeah, but he came out and apologized. I mean, at least he mea culpas, you know. Does MSNBS retract what they say? No. CNN, no. Very seldom. And if they do...
Well, you know, he flat out admitted he takes his news from Crystal and Sagar and Kyle Kalinske, and he had somebody on Friday, and she asked where his news sources came from, and it's all populist progressive media.
Yeah, why would you even waste your time other than making light and debunking MSNBS and CNN and everything else? I do have to say that CNN did a clip the other day where they fact-checked Joe Biden, and he was lying. But again, lying, you know, the little crap that he's lying about just hurts that whole dichotomy of Trump lying, Biden lying. It's just, you know, it's whatever. So anyway, thank you everybody today, and thanks to Lynn Idahosa for joining us.
Lynn,
it wasn't a long show. We still maintained to keep 30 people in here and on the deal. And I know that Black Bear News has probably been running for 20 minutes. We don't want to mess up Kevin, but thanks for joining us. Tomorrow we have Amos from No Joke,
my brother.
Yeah, and Franklin Walburn Brown. He is the production person over at Brave New Future with Amber King. He'll be joining us tomorrow with Amos.
The man with the voices. That's what I call
Yeah, the
Franklin.
man with the voices. We just got to get him to use that voice more often. And we're still, I think Brahm is, he wants to come on. That'll have to be an evening show. Maybe we can make a impromptu show, Chanda, if you join me with Brahm, so we can talk some hard politics and positions. And what else we got going on? We got Women's Wednesday. Hopefully we'll get some ladies on Wednesday besides just Chanda and I. And that will be it, and then we'll be off Thursday. Joy's got some guests coming up this week. I need to talk to her today. And then Friday, Brave New Future, finally. I think Amber's going to have a show Friday, and then No Joke on Saturday. We had a great No Joke this week.
It's fun.
And Amos is talking about he wants to do a show, and that's probably going to be on Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Pacific time. More to come. Hopefully he'll talk about that tomorrow. What are we going out with here today?
We are going out with Alabama Shakes. Don't want to fight no more.
Oh, these guys got some great voices. So really good. So anyway, thanks again, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for a Monday morning on the very close first day of fall. What is first day of fall tomorrow?
Yeah. Is it the first
Summer's
day of fall?
gone.
I mean,
Summer's
we're
gone.
almost semi back to what I used to know normal was. J9 Campbell, Al Walsky, thank you for the super chats.
Thank you guys for hanging out. Sorry this was such a long show. I guess we came with a lot of info on Monday. Plus, we had a lot to say. You know, we go the whole weekend not talking about these things. So.
Yeah, and it's going to be another. I have a bad feeling about this week. And remember last week when I was saying I feel like something bad's going to happen? And
October surprise is coming. We all know it.
Yeah, and it was bad last week. everything. It's easy call when something Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away. So that was one bad thing.
That was foreseeable, though. Come
Yeah,
on, she's had one foot in the grave for a long time.
Well, they've been doing specials on her because we kind of knew the scuttlebutt was that she was not doing well. So
There's a rumor on the right that she's been dead for 6 months and they've had her on ice.
No, that's Joe Biden. Oh, sorry. Anyway, have a great day, everybody.
Biden.
Oh, Biden. We got to get used to that. MSNBS. Oh, Biden. We're going to have our own new language metaphors. So,
yes,
bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
All right, I'm gonna try and just be like chill in the verses with
They know.
All right, ready? Take one.
My line, your line, don't cross them lines. What you like, what I like, why can't we both be right? Attacking, defending, until there's nothing left worth winning. Your pride and my pride, don't waste my time. Don't wanna fight no more. Don't wanna fight no more. I don't wanna fight no more. Don't wanna fight no more. I don't wanna fight no more. Don't wanna fight no more. Take from my hands, put in your hands, fruit of all my dreams. Oh, lying ain't so easy, but everyone's so pleasing, I can't get no relief. And living ain't no fun, the constant dedication, keep the water and power on. There ain't no money left, oh, I can't catch my breath, I'm gonna work myself to death. I don't wanna fight no more, 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 I don't wanna fight no more. Don't wanna fight no more. Don't wanna fight no more. I don't wanna fight no more. Don't wanna fight no more. I don't wanna fight no more. Don't wanna fight no more. Don't wanna fight no more.